You lost good. Wow.
How'd you get?
Big mess with my thing. Something like such.
It seems out of date in today's world of science fiction being lost inside of terrible action with too many cuts and a VFX staff eternally underpaid with too little time. But once upon a time, science fiction was used to explore ethical dilemmas about the world we actually inhabit. The origins of the entire genre might be found in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, a story about ethical dilemmas involving science and the hubris of the brilliant. I'm sorry. I meant it's a story about the monster made by Victor Frankenstein, a monster saved by gargoyles fighting demons trying to take over the world and thereby saving humanity. Okay, a better example might be H.G. Wells' The Time Machine, a wonderful recapitulation of the evils of class division and it seems that story is now about saving your girlfriend from death. There was a girlfriend? There wasn't a girlfriend in the book. I'll add to the pile here one of my favorites, Star Trek. And with the release of another pile of whatever slop it is, it's easy to forget that when it was created, Star Trek existed to give room for storytelling to provoke thought in the viewer, make them consider the world in ways they had not done so yet. My dad's favorite episode as I grew up, his original trilogy, Mudd's Women. On the surface about a magic beauty pill, but really about the nature of confidence in yourself, how it comes across to others. Compare this to whatever the fuck I saw on Paramount Plus this week.
I've lost her. I've lost her. I've lost her.
It's funny to think all of this used to be about real life. Threaded through the myriad Star Trek shows and films, a lot of in-universe plot devices have developed over time. These give writers excuses to have really complex moral dilemmas. Things like my favorite character, Q, a effectively omnipotent god who can do whatever, or the way enemies just happen to show up when needed. Most maligned is a thing I want to talk about, though. The Prime Directive. In universe, it's the first law, thus the name, of space travel for the Federation. When you find a new civilization, the single most important thing is that you don't alter the course of their development. This has led to a probably too big number of Back from the Brink episodes where ultimately one person or another decides breaking this rule is better than following the dogmatic bureaucratic letter to a T. It's also led to some very bell-curvy storylines as well, which are not great. And thanks to the liberal usage of it as a plot device, the Prime Directive has been maligned, roasted, and hated by a massive amount of the fan base, and also kind of people at large. It's a relic of another time, some people say, with its birth in the Cold War and Vietnam War activism. It's silly, they say, to let a civilization head down the path to destruction without stepping in. It's not surprising to see this, of course. We live in a world where people seek strong figures that will fix everything, to put their fate in the hands of those who claim to know better to help us. Many would consider it insane to not involve yourself and make the world a better place. Why shouldn't the Federation simply interfere immediately? So if we're going to defend the Prime Directive, and I am, we need to first discuss the best modern commentary on the nature of this paternalist-maternalist directive of non-interference. Of course I mean Peacemaker. Peacemaker is a spin-off TV series following on the success of really the only good comic book movie made. Very much a bad guy among the bad guys of the Suicide Squad film, Peacemaker is portrayed as a giant piece of crap in a John Cena-shaped sack. Dressed in American propaganda, replete with Eagly, his pet eagle, at his side, Peacemaker is willing to...
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
It is not a subtle jab at Americanism. It's not subtle. In the film, we see him come to blows with Rick Flag over evidence the United States had been committing human atrocities illegally in overseas countries. Despite his own patriotism, Rick Flag wants to expose it to the world because it's just the right thing to do. Peacemaker, however, beholden to orders, hierarchy, and a scuffle ends up killing Flag.
Peacemaker. What a joke.
And clearly in the moment regrets it as it happens. While the film ends with him getting shot, the show picks up shortly after the film as his recovery begins and he is recruited for a new mission that threatens the entire planet. And yes, spoilers ahead, but season 2 is about to hit or already out, so just catch up.
Fuck! Yeah, Peacemaker's back, baby!
Peacemaker's story is an onion, and I am not going to crisscross it simply. On the surface, it is about an alien race come to take over Earth.
What the fuck?
Our anti-heroes are tasked with stopping it.
You're late, you fucking dickheads.
However, I'm going to say this a lot. This is written really fucking well. At the heart of Peacemaker's story is his upbringing under the iron fist of his father, August Augie Smith, also known as the White Dragon. Get it? Augie's idea of justice is brutal, unyielding, a worldview he forcefully imposes on his 2 children. This parenting approach reaches a horrifying conclusion in Augie's insistence that his sons, Christopher, who grows to be Peacemaker, and Keith, the older brother, engage in a brutal fistfight for the entertainment of his friends. In a moment that will forever change the course of his life, Christopher punches, accidentally killing his brother Keith in one of those fights. And that's it. This event serves as the catalyst for Peacemaker's superhero status, his oath. And he believes it changes him forever. The violence, too much for him, he says. He can't handle a world so violent, so he appeals to peace. And he takes his vow, an oath, a vow to fight for peace, no matter the cost. This oath, well, to Chris, a rejection of his father's brutality, ironically embodies the very mindset Augie instilled in him. Yeah, Peacemaker's about paternalism. Now, paternalism is not just simply saying being a dad. This is the shit critique we seem to be often left with today, the idea that it's just about being a strict parent. No. Paternalism works on people far, far deeper. See, Christopher was happy to rebel against his father. He did this with every tool he had.
This is Underwater World. This one's scabies for all. Upon activation, it gives everybody 1 mile radius scabies, except, of course, the wearer of the helmet. This anti-gravity allows you to float. One we should just throw away.
What is it?
Human torpedo.
The tools made for him.
I didn't make these things while you were in prison. These are all from before.
A helmet, an outfit, and more made by his father. This is not a metaphor. He is handed a series of machines created by a neo-Nazi supervillain to do what Christ in fucking hell can ever imagine. Who handed Chris his imagination? Who built it? So, with the rebellion of being nothing like his dad, even his dad laughs when Chris says,
Dad, that's not my thing. I do what I do to stop criminals, not a specific...
Yeah, sure.
or right before Chris kills him.
Well, go ahead and do it, you fucking pussy. I knew you couldn't do it, you because I control you. Whether or not I kill you, you'll never be able to get the fuck away from me.
Did you notice his dad is right? Not kinda right. Entirely right. See, every kill we see of Peacemaker executing people, well, except really one, is exactly who his dad would want killed. So think about it. So in the Suicide Squad movie, I kind of don't need to explain why the White Dragon would be happy that hundreds of people from the nation off the coast of South America named Cordell Maltese might be dead. The entire series of the TV show, we see him killing aliens for the government. These aliens invading, literally doing the Great Replacement theory. There are some exceptions. Obviously, killing his father is an exception, but we only see 3 deaths that stick with him. Obviously, the flashback when he was a child. His father forced him to stab a race traitor to death. The other, obviously, when he kills his brother. The other non-alien he kills that matters, Rick Flag, the patriotic American archetype. He does this because Rick is trying to reveal to the war crimes the U.S. is involved with, right? And these deaths haunt him. These deaths sit with him. These are the deaths that he flashes back to as the series culminates in a climactic choice. Killing white people sticks with Peacemaker. That's the only thing all of these people have in common. All the other kills we see are non-whites or invading Great Replacement aliens. Yeah, Peacemaker was basically made by his father at that deep of a level. The entire series revisits this structure over and over. Adebayo, played brilliantly by Danielle Brooks, is the daughter of Lawler, the iron-fisted tyrant who runs the Suicide Squad and does a ton of pretty super evil shit in the name of America patriotism. A different path than Peacemaker, Adebayo is also fighting a maternalistic reality that parenting built into her. And Adebayo's mom works differently, offering her help in the form of a job and guidance, a paycheck, nurturing her, not demanding and controlling through rules, but through mothering.
Empathy. In this business, Leota, that will get you killed.
So yes, it's about time for theory. Let's get at what paternalism versus maternalism really is about, the wild way we use gender here. When we speak of paternalism, we think of people like Augie from Peacemaker, harsh, rule-giving, boundary-making, edict-yelling humans who build narratives through rules with a "because I said so, damn it" on the back end. Maternalism is seen more positive by contrast. Instead of harsh rules where you tell the child, "this is how you do it or else," you go to the child and say, "let me help you do this the right way." It seems more nurturing and caring. It's not angry and violent, so it's better? Lawler, in her relationship with Adebayo, is nurturing and manipulative to get at what is best for everyone. And she taught her daughter this in turn. We see this in the natural skill of subterfuge Adebayo displays early on, able to befriend people she's actively betraying. While it eats her up inside, she can't help but push herself further, deeper, for her duty for mom. Ultimately, betraying Peacemaker in a way that literally might end the world.
You did it, didn't you? Waller sent you here for this express purpose.
Now, in this whole thing, I might keep using paternalism as the main word. Maybe maternalism works the same way. These are both examples of what Kant called heteronomy, the acceptance that the authority for acting exists outside of yourself. For him, paternalism or maternalism didn't really matter. And it's such a good word for it, too. The internalizing of dependency on others, different from someone making you do something at the point of a gun or by force. It's more insidious. It's not whether you resist external commands or do them. That's boring. It's about whether you find relief in being freed from the burden of reasoning and ethics through others. The paternalism, maternalism, that's how we get there. So, let's do some theory. Paternalist heteronomy is formed through expertise, exclusive access to knowledge and things. Whether it's the old, "I know because I'm old," or the more recent, "do your research, I know better" bullshit, this epistemic subordination places you in a spot where you can't possibly get the right answer. There is a right answer to be found, of course. Both of these things are lies, but goddamn it works. Maternalistic heteronomy? That's more relational subordination. By playing at the fragility of people and of you, the person caring for you creates anxiety about potential outcomes and your own independent action. It hooks us because, yeah, we know we're never really truly independent, but here it's emphasized to the point of destruction of autonomy. And both forms create this heteronomy through manipulating how the systems of choice and agency are formed, how they're built. Environments where decisions are able to be made aren't vacuums for anybody, but through this, the space is made, architected to serve certain choices, while making others seem foolish, dangerous, or evil. And the person put in this feels like they have free will, despite the parameters, the environment being built before they even arrived. And of course, heteronomy works through feedback loops of self-abuse. Like all things we do to children, it seems. The paternalistic expertise creates a poverty of experience in the child. It normalizes dependency. The maternalistic creates a poverty of creativity, normalizing compliance. It's all around us and built so many structures that we live with. Does any of this ring a bell politically? Anxiety around decisions? The way when you're forced to make a choice on your own, you freeze up, internalizing the idea that a choice might lead to disaster? The way some people seek out authority rather than develop an internal critique? Think of the human centipede that is YouTube as people become expert consumers of expert opinions. People spend more time fighting about whether Jordan Peterson or some other shithead is worth listening to instead of building fucking independent reasoning. How about how people avoid any responsibility, blaming systems, crediting the system or other people or any mishmash of this? This is how you are castrated for owning the consequences of your own actions. It's why you can't do this. And worst, it forecloses the future realities. You see yourself as someone able to choose things that aren't in line with the system? No. You can't envision alternative possibilities. You can't plan, make things that are truly transformative. Your horizon, not infinite, contracts to compliance or care-seeking. Yeah, this is capitalism. Surplus extraction hits hard here, and it hits super hard. Paternalistic expertise. It creates dependent consumers of that expertise. The maternalistic creates docile people that require management. It's a brutal 1-2 Oedipal punch. I know a book that does that. And in Peacemaker, the show understands this. All together now, we're going to talk about the butterflies.
This shit is getting goofy.
Butterflies are body snatcher-like insects. They're an alien race, destroyed their own planet through hubris and industrialization. They found our world and they just wanted somewhere to live, but eventually they saw what we were doing to the world, how people work, and they were horrified how badly we treat our planet. They decided they simply cannot allow us to go down the same route. For our own good, they needed to make sure we survived by any means necessary. So they began taking over wealthy, powerful people, killing them as they began to steer mankind towards an outcome that they wanted. An outcome that frankly sells me pretty fucking hard. I mean, they're right about our current predicament, aren't they?
Ignoring science in favor of populist leaders who tell you that the floods and the fires and the disease are unrelated to your own actions. Valuing profit over survival. Treating minor inconveniences as assaults on your freedom.
At one point of the show, the choice is actually able to be made. And it's with Peacemaker and Adebayo standing with the leader of the butterflies. And they're asked to make the decision.
Join us in saving your planet. What do you say?
Let the butterflies continue what they're doing, or
Kill the world.
This is, to me, a crystallization of the dilemma of the Prime Directive. And Star Trek was once the one famous for exploring it. Yes, thanks to the state of Star Trek. The best example of this comes from a show where a dude chainsaws a super strong gorilla in half.
You fucking stud!
Yeah, I am.
Welcome to the State of Media in 2025. The idea is that no one has a right to interfere with the natural evolution of alien worlds. This is how a writer put it in a single episode in Picard's voice. And that one was about time travel. The problem is they've explored it. And the writers care about this language to a really ridiculous level. I mentioned this essay to friend of the channel, President Sunday, who immediately dove into a rant about the worst episode of Star Trek Enterprise there was. Given that I don't recall there being any good episodes of that show, I wasn't exactly surprised or taken aback. I'd forgotten about Dear Doctor, where Dr. Phlox is wringing his hands again over the Prime Directive. Here, you see on this planet, there's two races. On one side, we have the Valakians, who aren't evolving anymore because of reasons. This evolutionary dead end is gonna kill them, all eventually. Another race is the Mink, who are chattel slaves of the early American South, effectively, except in this case, Enterprise gives them a real evolutionary disadvantage. They're less evolutionarily somehow. And everyone's really amazed that they can speak words.
Evolution is more than a theory. It is a fundamental scientific principle. Forgive me for saying so.
Yes, it is a problematic episode. Fucking whole series is. More so because the debate on the Prime Directive isn't whether to convince them to stop slavery. Somehow it's worse. See, Phlox has somehow determined, wait for it, the slaves are on the verge of an evolutionary explosion, a renaissance of genetics that will help them easily eclipse anything the Valakians achieved.
Like the Valakians, they appear to be in the process of an evolutionary awakening.
How he figured this out is magic, so don't ask. And Phlox has a cure for the Valakians, but doesn't want to give it. Instead saying the Enterprise should fake it, giving the Valakians something that'll work a while, but ultimately let the Mink overtake them genetically.
But the Mink have the potential to become the dominant species on this planet.
Yes, the Prime Directive, in its full glory, apparently the first time used, is advocating for the mass death of a people begging for help that we can easily give. It is a fetishizing of a rule book that you will see in a fascist regime of any sort. And remember, I did say the words many times, natural evolution. They were offered by Picard at one point.
The natural evolution of...
In a matter of time. And the fascist minds need their factish gods, so the hard language stuck. Thank you, writers. But I'm old. I'm not a child of Enterprise like Sunday. I grew up in a home where my dad had VHS copies of every single episode of the original series, and I was watching them before TNG even hit the airwaves. And at that point, I grew up with Wesley as my own self-insert. He's my age. Awesome. Fuck you. To me, the Prime Directive has a different constellation than most. Justice hit me because I was also an awkward loser kid who would trip over his legs and fall into things. Picard, in that episode, speaks eloquently about the moral dilemmas of the Prime Directive, how the slightest thing can change a people, even ruin them. Homeward, even more so, as Picard took a far more hardline approach, refusing to interfere at the cost, not one life, the death of an entire people. In The Next Generation, the rules seem to imply that we should allow a people to perish rather than save them and alter their understanding of everything. This felt awful to me. It seems so dark. Wasn't Picard the one who, in the episode Justice I just mentioned, literally breaks the Prime Directive to save one life with the justification of...
There can be no justice so long as laws are absolute.
He even makes some claim that saving them could be somehow the same as killing them? I was incredulous as a kid until I got older. And I learned, well, he's not wrong. This shit really matters. Because if we look back at the history of humanity, actual history, how well has it gone when technologically advanced groups meet those who aren't? Even if we take away those who conquered, pillaged, raped, killed, assaulted, everything, even if we say we aren't going to count all the times where meeting meant the introduction of illnesses that wiped out entire people. Even if we're leaving all that out, if we only kept it to introductions that went okay, there's still nothing but tragedy for exactly the reasons Picard spoke of. Take the polar Inuit of the northwestern Greenland area, right? Robert Peary, this explorer, made contact with them in the late 1800s. He introduced new technologies and Western goods. Anthropologist John Mallory's work, The Last Kings of Thule, great book, details how their self-perception as the only humans in the world, their name literally means the only real people, was shattered. The tech they found when the Prime Directive was broken here made their traditional knowledge useless, obsolete, not useless in a, oh no, factory closed, I gotta learn to code, but in the, my very notion of meaning in any activity is obliterated. These people didn't worship and work. Work was worship, and both were gone. This led to extraordinarily widespread depression, alcoholism, and social breakdown despite no direct attempt at conquest. They didn't have to conquest. The culture and people are effectively gone. It only took a few generations to be this way. It happened because the space that they lived in disintegrated. They were deterritorialized. In this place, the fog of loss, uncertainty, space of chaos, there was a people who seemed to understand the world perfectly. People who'd been in that world longer, who had a grasp of things that protected them from the chaos I'm experiencing now. And that was it for the Inuit. Heteronomy is easy, simple. It doesn't require one side to be domineering outright. Just that there is an excessive imbalance in the power one side has to affect the world. And shying away from this is really, really difficult. Turning away is emotionally impossible. This interaction is what Picard and others were always talking about, saving a people to ultimately destroy them. I have Return of Archon. It's buried in my brain. I remember my dad being so in love with Kirk's monologuing with the computer. And the episode is most known because it's kind of really the first time the idea of the Prime Directive showed up, not as a thing for Starfleet, but as something an AI, this computer, actually uses to determine actions across a civilization. See, Landru, a brilliant inventor, built a computer and put his brain inside of it. It controls everything, runs the city, tells people what to do, but people stagnated. Harmony came first. Peace came first. Stasis, stability, right? The body. And yeah, this dialogue is gonna hint at another thing this channel's really well known for. Just be ready for it.
The good of the body is the Prime Directive.
Good of the body, Captain. That's the key.
The good is the harmonious continuation of the body. The good is peace, tranquility. The good of the body is the directive.
What have you done to do justice to the full potential of every individual of the body? Without freedom of choice, there is no creativity. Without creativity, there is no life. The body dies.
I mean, this, for me, this is the beginning and end of the idea. It is complicated despite the dialogue being so fucking simple. It's not about genetics. It's not actually about survival. The question is not whether to save someone, but at what point you step in, stopping the worst outcome. And what if the worst outcome wouldn't have happened? I run into this. I'm a father myself. I have 2 kids, and the relationship is one of protecting, certainly. Little babies are blobs of self-destruction who seem to only get dumber as they get older. The running joke, kids constantly trying to kill themselves and your job as a parent is to prevent it. It's pretty accurate. In practice, though, there's a huge range of opinions on what exactly you do about it. It's not easy being a dad or a mom, but I can pinpoint a moment that's pretty revealing about a parent, any parent. When your kid does something that might seriously fucking hurt them. There are many versions of this you'll run into. You find your kid, for example, somehow climbing to the top of cabinets or balancing many boxes or foam pieces to get up high. This fall will certainly hurt them. It could actually hurt them very badly. It's entirely possible it could be that 1 in a million that could do worse. Or might be a bump. Or they may not fall at all. See, you don't know. Nobody knows. But you see that they're losing footing, so what do? Do you jump in immediately? You run in screaming, "Oh my God, that's dangerous," letting them know it's awful that they were doing that? Do you grab them down harshly for their own safety? From your side, all the anxieties of possibilities filling your heads, things you've seen on TV, almost none based on actual experience of a small child in front of you. Really? For the child? Nothing. It's only all possible. There's nothing specific. Nothing is going to happen except what will be happening. Stopping them because they may hurt themselves creates a dependency that's immediate and terrifying. Will they ever build again? Will they climb again? How far, how high? Is it even an option for them now? No, I'm not overthinking this event. This is one small event among dozens a day, thousands a week perhaps, and that architecture, that system, it's what that child will grow to understand. And a lot of parents justify it by saying, "Are you kidding? You'd have been killed if I wasn't there." But that's the thing. That's the logic that destroys civilizations. Asking that question at all, what would happen? That's the logic. That's the impulse Picard wrestles with, that turned the polar Inuit into these cultural ghosts that made Landru's computer trap an entire society in amber. The moment I decide that my knowledge, my experience, my understanding of what's best trumps his agency, I've become the Federation ship hovering over a pre-warp civilization, hovering over the save them button with my hand. And the most insidious part is how reasonable it sounds, how loving. Of course, I want to protect him from pain. I want to protect her from pain, from failure, from the harsh realities I've already navigated, and I've navigated many. But that protection is a prison. Just like Landru's harmonious body of society, the very act of shielding someone from consequences removes the ability to develop judgment, resilience, the capacity to navigate chaos, the capacity to determine their own reality. Have you ever had someone introduce you to a video game they love, and when you start playing it, they tell you the best way to play? And they're right. Sucks the joy out of it. Your friend probably isn't that great at the game, but now you're fucking doomed. You only know the game through the lens of your friend. You didn't build your own understanding. You had conclusions given to you, just like the child in me. The Prime Directive isn't about aliens. It's about recognizing growth. Real growth requires freedom to fail, to make what will be considered mistakes, to say no and live with consequences. When I step in, I override my son's defiance or his climbing for his own good. I'm not protecting him. I'm stunting him. I'm creating dependency where there should be strength, compliance where there should be choice, and deciding when you do it a lot, do you do it too often, too soon? Well, that child will change to being dependent on words you use, following your lessons, your tone, your eyes, your anxiety. It's not that those words don't have real experience behind them, but for him they don't, and that becomes clear, and at some point it will shatter reality, and there will be a total loss of grounding, like these tribes, and real harm can come to the kid, or the planet. Most interesting thing about the Prime Directive is that ambiguity of when to do it. Too early, too late, on a civilizational scale. The inequality yielding brutal paternalism or the nurturing savory of maternalism only lead to destruction anyway. And so, the butterflies were given this view, and they chose both. They both had a ruthless paternalism, but mixed it with a nurturing maternalism. And as the show concludes, we are given that moment again, this ambiguous option. as Peacemaker, center of the series, is asked, will you help us maintain the structure, save your planet?
Be the peacemaker. Join us in saving your planet. What do you say?
Activate human torpedo.
And fittingly enough, he actually uses Adebayo as the silver bullet that stops the domination of these aliens, letting Earth be free to make its own choices, to fail making them. And this ethical through line, it's hitting me because we live in a time where it's very easy to accept someone else helping you, making it all better, giving you guardrails of what you should do, can do, keeping you safe, keeping all of us safe from above. The paternalist Trump with his demands and edicts, the maternalist Democratic Party who's spending years nurturing dependence through fencing off dangers that both of these groups has helped us to create and get us here. I mean, I think they're worse than the bugs because the bugs didn't do it to make themselves billionaires, but yeah. Remember one good bug, one good butterfly, MURN. The reason he went against the swarm, he's pretty open about. He doesn't have a right, nobody does, to destroy the future of a person, the freedom to forge their path. It comes quick, but as he talks about the man he killed that he took over, the ethical center of all this lands pretty goddamn well.
You took over someone.
Yes.
Yeah, you killed someone.
So I inhabited the worst person I could find. This man, Leota, he's a murderer. But still I know his thoughts. Even he could have changed. I know that. I took that from him. I took his freedom and his face. And every day I dread waking up to his memories.
Yes, that man could have changed. Probably wouldn't have, but that's not anyone's call. The bug for us, though, it's already here, right in our heads. We are the face we see every day. We are the memories that haunt us, that keep us in line, because anything else might just be too dangerous. Just keep it where it needs to be, right? You know what I say to that?
Activate human torpedo.